The United Kingdom was once a place rich in nature. Our ancestors lived alongside wolves, lynx and bears. But by the 1700s, all of our large carnivores had been hunted to extinction, leaving what some might say is an empty landscape. Rewilding is a new conservation vision that describes the mass restoration of ecosystems by the return of keystone species. Rewilding brings with it an opportunity for humans to become reconnected with wild landscapes and a chance for nature to be in charge. Advocates of rewilding say that bringing back species such as wolves, bears and lynx can increase the diversity of flora and fauna, allowing spaces of wilderness to expand. But the reintroduction of carnivores in the UK is a controversial topic, with the wolf in particular, which may be due to its representation in folklore. We decided to look at public attitudes towards wild spaces in the UK and the idea of reintroducing large carnivores.
I think it can only be a good thing if it's going to rebalance the ecosystem and also it'd be great to be able to see those sort of animals in the wild in England.
If I knew there were wolves in an area, there'd be more chance for me to steer clear, because I mean, like they hunt in packs and they're quite stealthy, so you don't know where they're going to pop up.
Good. We should stop killing animals so we can have more wildlife around.
Well, personally, I don't really go into Scotland. I've never been to Scotland, so personally I wouldn't really care.
I think it's very good because, like, we need to just care for them. We need to look after them, let them be how they are, let them be free. Let them be free out where they are, even if they're not in a cage. Just let them be free.
From the Bible to the first European settlers in the Americas, the concept of wilderness was one that, up until its renaissance at the end of the 19th century, inspired terror rather than awe. These frightening wildernesses and their native human inhabitants were seen as savage and demonic. To call these places wild was a cry to tame them, and so through centuries of agriculture we seem to have driven ourselves further away from nature, to eventually come, in fact, to fetishize wildernesses as places of the sacred and sublime, but at the same time somehow wholly disconnected from humanity. Nature itself is a human concept, and the ways we see ourselves relating to nature are in fact products of culture. It would seem we need to remember that these revered wild landscapes are in fact deeply humanized places that are heavy with our own meanings and symbols. But our current sentimental perceptions of wildernesses present risks of promoting environmentally irresponsible behaviour. George Monbiot argues that rewilding will bring us enchantment, but is this simply a silly romantic notion that dangerously privileges one kind of nature over another? And what of the rewilding debates? Here the value systems of conflicted groups are brought into sharp focus, the economic interests of local residents versus the pursuits of environmentalists. It would seem that there is value in a return to nature, but this rewilding needs to happen with respect and a sense of responsibility. It needs to happen in a way that sees humanity as an integral component in nature and not outside of it, occasionally looking in.